Hello learners, today we are going to study about decimals. So we are going to start with place value of digits in decimals. So we have a place value chart below. So before the decimal point, this is the decimal point. Before the decimal point, we have the place value of digits in the decimal. So we start with the tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So we can have an example of a number. For example, this one. We have Joyce having 35.32541 mass in kilogram. So we have the 3 immediately after the decimal. This is the tenths, and the 2 is the hundreds, the 5 is the thousands, the 4 is the 10,000s, and the 1 is the 100,000s. That is how we follow concerning the decimal point. Ahead of the decimal point, all learners know that we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10 of thousands, 100,000s, as easy as that. Also be asked on the concerning the total value. For example, from this number 62.58347, you can be asked to get the total value of each number. Let's jot down the number so that we can get the total value for each number. We have 62.58347. Let's start with the total values of each numbers. For example, the first one is 6. For 6, we have 6, and for the 2 we replace with 0, so it becomes 60. And the 2 becomes only 2. And the 5 becomes 0.5. The 8, we replace 5 with 0, it becomes 0.08. For 3, it becomes 0.003. We just replace the numbers with 0. For the 4, it becomes 0.00004. For the 7, it becomes 0.00007. That is how you get the total value for the numbers with decimals. As easy as that. The other part, you can be asked to multiply decimals by a whole number. For example, you can have a decimal such as 6.735. Then you are asked to multiply it by 10. If you are asked to multiply a number with decimal by 10 or another number, if it is 10, if it is a number with zeros such as 10, you jump one step to remove the decimal into one step. So if it was 6.7, the decimal point shifts between 67 and 35. So it becomes 67.35. That if the number has a 1 on the beginning and follows by zeros. That is where you shift the decimals. Another example, let's use the same example. If it was 6.735 multiplied by 1,000, you just shift using the zeros. For example, it has 3 zeros. So you shift the decimal to 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So it becomes 6,735 because the decimal is already ahead of the 5. That is how you work it out. Here are an example of questions that you can work out on. For example, on question E, if you are asked to multiply 19.3 by 100, you just shift the zeros. You shift the decimal point by removing the it from here. that is 1 0, and then the other 0 you multiply it here, so it becomes, you add a 0 ahead of it, so it becomes 1930. Let's work out it on paper. 0.3 times 100. So you shift using 1 0. After shifting the decimal one more time, you add a 0 because there is no other number. So it becomes 1930. That is 1930. So be asked to multiply decimals by number with decimals. For example, you can be asked to multiply 1.2 times 1.2. How do you do it? You can convert this number to a number without a decimal, or multiply it directly by removing the decimal point and then returning the decimal point after multiplying. For example, after removing the decimal point, it becomes 12. So you multiply 12 by 12. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 1, 2. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 1, 1. It becomes 144. And then you return the decimal point. You count the numbers ahead of the decimal point, which are 1 and 2. Because the decimal point, ahead of the decimal point we have the 2. Ahead of the decimal point we have the 2. So you have how many numbers? 1 and 2. 2 numbers. So you count 1, 2. So it becomes 1.44. The other method is by removing the decimal point and replacing it with a number with a 0. Especially that one that starts with 1. For example, we have one number ahead of the decimal point. So it becomes 10. So it becomes 12 over 10 times 12 over 10. You can multiply directly by 2, 5, by 2, 6, by 2, 5, by 2, 6. 6 times 6, 36. 5 times 5, 25. And then you divide that 6 by 25. 1 because of 25. What is the remainder? 1 there, 1 there. Because it is not possible, you add a decimal point and then you add a 0. It becomes 110 divided by 25. It becomes 4 because of 100. Remainder 10. Because 10 cannot divide 25, you add a 0. 100 divided by 25, it becomes 4. So it becomes 1.44. You can see our answers are the same. Learners, you can try the following questions on your own so that you can perfect on your knowledge. Also be asked on division of decimals by a whole number. For example, we can have a number such as 2.75 divided by 5. If you are asked such a number, you can convert this into an improper fraction such as 275. Because you have two numbers ahead of the decimal, you multiply 1 by 100, so it becomes 100 divided by 5. So to convert this into times, it becomes 275 over 100. You multiply by the reciprocal of 5, which is 1 over 5. By 5, 1. By 5, 55. By 5, 11. By 5, 20. So it becomes 11 over 20. 11 divided by 20, what do we get? It becomes 0 point, because you put there a 0 and a decimal point, and then you add a 0. So it becomes 5 because of 100. 10, you add a 0. 100 divided by 20, it becomes 5. So our answer is 0.55. That is how you work it out. Another example can be asked 0.24 divide 0.3. So you convert this into a fraction by it becomes 24 over 100 divided by 3 over 10. So it becomes 24 over 100. This being times, you reciprocate 3 over 10, it becomes 10 over 3. You cancel the 0 with the 0. By 3, 1. By 3, 8. So it becomes 8 over 10. 8 over 10 is the same as 8 divided by 10. You put the 0 point and then you add 0. 80 divided by 10, 8. So answer is 0.8. That is how you do it. You can try the following: question B and C, and also you can try question D on the first one, the first part, so that you can perfect yourself. That will be the end of our lesson concerning decimals. Bye bye, learners.